We're just erring on the side of caution, as we've said before. We see what's going on in other states.
Governor Lamont officially announcing the state will be pumping the brakes on moving forward with phase 3 of reopening for now.
The reopening would have included bars and social clubs, and today state leaders also highlighting promising numbers. Here's Connecticut's coronavirus hospitalizations curve. Tonight, there are only 69 people being treated for COVID-19 in Connecticut. Hospitals, that is the lowest we've seen since March 23rd, when the outbreak was just getting started in the Northeast. And here's what hospitalizations look like since phase 1 reopening. That is, since May 20th, things have been on a downturn. Now, the state also reporting 3 deaths over the weekend. The governor says they want to be cautious about moving on to the next phase, given what's happening in other states like Florida and Arizona.
The numbers continue to trend in the right direction, which is not true of 38 other states around the country.
While Connecticut continues to see promising numbers in the state's fight against COVID, the state will suspend phase 3 for now, in large part because of the spikes in other parts of the country.
We never opened up our bars, and now they are slowly they're going back and not opening, they're closing down their bars.
That means private gatherings will remain at 25 inside, 100 for outside, and places like restaurants will remain at 50% capacity indoors for now, and bars, which seem to be a culprit in other states, will remain closed.
As Governor Greg Abbott said, I regret having opened the bars at all because they are so conducive to the infection, and I think that was a good thing we did.
As for if or how this impacts other businesses moving forward.
Is there a scenario where the state will move forward with increasing capacities for other businesses without bars?
Right now, we wanted to keep it simple. We're pushing off phase 3, and that includes the capacity issues beyond bars, as we said before. But as we look at the metrics, look what's going on in other states, absolutely.
Now, Governor Lamont says there is no exact date right now for phase 3 reopening, but they will give businesses a 2 weeks notice as to when they can reopen. Now, more than 2.9 million confirmed cases in the U.S., and the coronavirus outbreak is still spreading. At least 27 states are reporting an increase of 20% or more over the holiday weekend. That number led by Florida, where health officials say the state has reached a grim new milestone, more than 200,000 cases, which they think is fueled by a big increase among young people packing the beaches and the bars as well.
Predictions are, as terrible as these numbers are, this is the beginning. They will double in the next 2 weeks and then double again the week after that.
And as infection rates increase, medical resources are once again being stretched thin. South Carolina, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, and California all reporting record numbers of coronavirus hospitalizations, with some folks in those states refusing to still obey social distancing guidelines.
We'll do tonight Atlanta's mayor, Keisha Lance Bottoms, revealing that she has also tested positive for COVID-19. Mayor Bottoms says that she's experiencing no symptoms. The 50-year-old, who's being looked at as a possible running mate for Joe Biden, has been critical of Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's handling of the pandemic in recent weeks, accusing him of rushing to lift social distancing restrictions put in place to try to curb the spread of the virus. While the state of Connecticut's putting phase 3 on pause, New York City's entering its phase 3 of reopening today, and Wall Street reacted positively to the news at opening bell today. Stocks opening a bit higher as traders return from the 3-day holiday weekend. Starting today, New York City will allow places like nail salons and tattoo parlors to operate at 50% capacity. Indoor dining is not yet permitted. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 383 points in the opening minutes of trading, closing up more than 400 points.